Hey, it's 4:20. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to have you along. We're going to have an interesting chat today with Amy Ludidi from Chiba, Africa. She's going to speak about one of my topics that I have an interest in, which is edibles. She's got lots of experience and knowledge in this field. And my personal concerns around edibles is there's far too many people that don't know enough about cannabis, dosage, etc. And making a tray of cookies or a tray of oatmeal cookies or suckers can be fun, but it can also be dangerous, and we want to make sure that we try to find the safest way to engage with edibles. So I've got a couple of questions that I've posed for Amy, and I'm going to let Amy just introduce herself as well, and then we'll go to the questions.
Hi Rory, thank you so much for having me. So a little bit about what I do. I am the guy ensuring that everything that is supposed to happen on campus happens, from managing the guys who run operations, cultivation, to guiding the students with what they have to be doing, where they have to be, to onboarding and offboarding our guests and lecturers. I am part of the academic team. I will be the person who will give you a tour and tell you more about us and our offerings. I will also be out in the streets when we go to events representing Chiba. In a nutshell, that is what I do.
Amy, thank you very much for the introduction. And then straight to the first question. I think people have concerns around cannabis and its safety. Can you overdose on edibles?
For me, the term overdose is so vague, man, because as most people know and will say, overdose means dying from something. Whereas I feel like you can overdose on something and not die from it, but have negative effects. You can have negative effects from taking edibles. We have known people that have landed up in hospital because they felt so bad that they thought they were dying, because they had such hectic anxiety. Their paranoia was sky high. Their breathing was affected. Their heart rate increased, because it essentially affects your central nervous system because of the direction and the route that it takes, which isn't the same for smoking. So I would say no in that you can't die, but yes in that you can experience negative feelings or effects. I mean, I know when we grew up, we didn't know that we didn't even know that there were different compounds in the flower, or we didn't know how much is in there, how much you were supposed to put in. We just put it in, baked, ate, and hoped for the best, and then we found out we did. It's kind of why cannabis got a bad reputation with some people. A lot of people that don't want anything to do with cannabis at the moment are not the people that smoked it, but it was the people that actually ate it. Just kids being kids, and with not knowing how much was in there, some people felt quite badly, and they just thought they'll never touch that stuff again. So, yeah. That's what I think.
That's interesting. I think a lot of people will be comforted by having some knowledge around edibles, so thank you for that one. The next one I've got for you, Amy, is how did the effects induced by edibles compare to those induced by smoking cannabis?
So with smoking, you puff it in, it goes directly into the lungs, into the bloodstream, into the brain, and you feel the effects of it very quickly. So by your third, fourth, fifth puff, you can already feel the effects of cannabis, whereas with edibles it takes a lot longer. It can be half an hour, it can be an hour, it can even be 2 hours. Sometimes you've already forgotten that you've had edibles, and I'll explain why it takes that long. So it takes long, and also with smoking, you feel the effects of it, and then there starts to be a decline. Whereas with edibles, it's a slow climb. It takes long to get there, and you either kind of stay there or you feel like you are climbing, and it takes a while for the effects to wear off. And the reason for this is because when it's gone into your stomach, it gets absorbed and metabolized by the liver, goes into the bloodstream and then into the brain. And the thing is, when it goes into the brain, it has already changed from THC to 11-hydroxy-THC. To make it easier, it is explained that 11-hydroxy-THC is a stronger THC, but it actually isn't, because it's THC that has been broken down and has become another compound, and the effects are not quite the same as when you have smoked, because the effects of having ingested an edible are slightly hallucinogenic. Some people might feel different, but my take is that because it is now a different substance or compound, you actually feel different.
Thanks, Amy. And then, how do you know how much CBD or THC you're consuming?
The truth is, you won't unless it is labeled, or the person who's giving it to you tells you, or you are preparing it yourself. In other words, if you're getting a CBD oil from someone, it has no labeling on it, you honestly won't know. And how this person will know is if they made it themselves. For example, they would have tested the flower and then they would have tested the oil afterwards, is how they would know. With smoking, I would say it has been known that joints can be anything between 5 to 10 milligrams, but this also depends on how big or how small the joints are. I smoke thin joints, and some people roll baseball bats, and so honestly, you won't know unless you actually really know. Maybe you grew the flower and you knew exactly how much THC is in there, but in essence, you never really know unless it is labeled or you know for sure.
So for me, I just think that there's a lot of work to be done in that area. So I think anyone who's involved in the edibles industry needs to almost immediately get involved in understanding what packaging and or warnings should be included. Every other package or any other product that we consume comes with a warning and what it's got in it. So this should be no different. Make sure that you're communicating with people and that you're authentic and that you're accurate in terms of your dosages. We're going to break quickly for an ad on our news, and then we'll come back and have some more questions for Amy.
As I said when I ran for president, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences. While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them. Second, I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses. Third, the federal government currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same as heroin and LSD, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. So I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Even as federal and local regulations of marijuana change, important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales should stay in place. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs.
We will review the policy and regulatory framework for a whole number of other processes, but more importantly, which will come as sweet news for our people in the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, for industrial hemp and cannabis to realize huge potential for investment and job creation. Now, this natural product, which our people have been farming with and harvesting for a number of purposes, is now going to be industrialized and no longer just being resorted to the smoke process. Many countries around the world have already advanced to higher levels. Our immediate neighbor in Lesotho has moved ahead on the industrialization of cannabis in leaps and bounds. And the products that are to be eked out of hemp and cannabis are in great demand around the world. We want to harness this so that we can release and unleash the energy of our ordinary farmers in the various parts of our country, especially in the Eastern Cape, as well as in KwaZulu-Natal, particularly in the Pondoland area.
The effect of the judgment of this court is to decriminalize A, the use or possession of cannabis by an adult in private for that adult person's consumption in private. In the case of cultivation of cannabis, the effect of this judgment is to decriminalize the cultivation of cannabis by an adult in a private place for that adult's personal consumption in private.
So we've been chatting to Amy Ludidi from Chiba, Africa, and as you can see, Amy is really knowledgeable about this part of the industry. It's a very big part of the industry, it's a growing part of the industry, it's a place where people choose often for that to be their introduction to the industry. And I'm going to shoot with the next question, Amy. What are the benefits of consuming cannabis or infused edibles? And I'm sure there are many, but maybe you can touch on a few for us. Thanks, Amy.
I would say because smoking is, depending on what you're smoking, because you could be vaping, you could be using a dab rig, but there are elements in smoking that are not great because you are essentially still taking smoke into your lungs. So with edibles, you're not doing any of that. All of that is avoided. And if you are taking edibles that are healthy, as in sugar-free and don't have all this stuff that is bad for you, then those are some of the benefits. It is also healthier. Yeah, those I would say are the benefits of consuming edibles.
So clearly you can see there's a whole lot of reasons and a whole lot of spaces that edibles can be included, and I find that also from conversation with many people wanting to come into the industry or to understand it more, that's their space that they choose to enter, and there are many people out there that are getting it right, and I think what is good from an edibles point of view, if you're getting it from the right source, they are marking it, they are telling you what's in there, their dosages are accurate. So just in my opinion, when you get into the edible space, start slowly, be comfortable, start with 10 milligrams. You're not to be in a rush, this is a journey, it can be a lifelong journey that's very, very medicinally capable of helping you in many aspects. So in the edible space, make sure you start with a small dosage and trade up from there as you feel comfortable. And this is an interesting one, Amy, are there certain activities that a person should avoid participating in once you've had edibles? Is there anything that you'd say is not a good idea once you've had edibles?
It depends on what you are taking edibles for. Like we just spoke about, if you're taking them medicinally, say you are taking anything between 0.5 to 2.5 milligrams, microdosing, so to speak, that's not a lot to to get you high. It is just enough to treat. Maybe you have a chronic condition, and while you have a chronic condition, you still have to go about your daily business, you still have to work or whatever. In that sense, you can still do certain activities, but if you are now going to 10, 20, 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams, your state of mind is not the same, so you shouldn't be sending emails. You shouldn't be operating heavy machinery. You should actually just chill, because that's also another point of taking edibles. You took edibles because you wanted to relax. You should take edibles to relax actually, and not do anything else. But like I said, if you're microdosing, then yes, you can still do certain activities.
Very interesting, because also for me, I guess tolerance levels become a player in this environment. So in my own experience as a youngster, we toyed around with, I think we made French toast or something along those lines, and you never really knew what dosages were, but I can tell you that I certainly would never have attempted driving a motor vehicle under the level and the volume of influence that I've had. So for me, there are certain things: stay in a safe place, don't be needing to travel anywhere, do anything specific, any task that might be dangerous, don't be going and cutting down neighbour's tree or anything like that. So be cautious around them until such times as you find out what your comfort level is or what your tolerance level is. Amy, so just in closing, any last remarks you have, anything you'd like to, any insights you'd like to share with our viewers, and then most importantly, a little bit about Chiba Africa, perhaps your journey with Chiba Africa, and where can people find you, and what does Chiba Africa offer? Thanks, Amy.
To tell you more about Chiba, sure. Tell you more about Chiba, there's so much to say about Chiba. Firstly, we are a dedicated cannabis school. We teach one how to grow, where to grow, why to grow, from seed to harvest, to storing, curing, what to do with the end product. We cover the entire ecosphere of understanding cannabis. So from growing it, the conditions with which to grow them in, from to understanding medical cannabis, how and why it works in the body, what to do with the end product and the different types of things you can do, from recreational to medicinal, to understanding the world of hemp. We go into the business of cannabis. If you come to us, you get so motivated because you meet other industry players and you see what are all the different things that can be done with cannabis. We are activists. We are believers in the plant as a medicine. We are believers in climate change and being stewards and stewardesses towards helping to impact a change in the problems that our societies face, things like unemployment and food security. And one of the subjects that we offer in our full-time program is actually is part of the wellness and sustainability and wellness, which focuses on food security. So our students come here and the and they learn permaculture, you know, they learn sustainable ways of growing food. Food security is a problem in the world over, and we would like to impact that understanding. We would like more people to to want to do something about it, so to speak. We are connectors in the industry. I'd like to believe we have industry days here where people can come and meet. We run free webinars where people can meet people from all over the country and globally as well. And that's kind of our contribution to help raise awareness and to help bring the South African industry to more life. How one can get involved with us is come to our industry days, meet us, meet other people, collaborate, meet the future, be a part of a great moment in history, be a part of one of the biggest things the biggest changes that's ever going to happen in history. Yeah, follow us everywhere. We are Chiba Africa on all socials. Go check out our YouTube channel, Chiba Cannabis TV. This is where you'll see what I mean by being connectors in the industry. We speak about all sorts of different topics, and yeah, we connect people. That's what we do. So come connect with us as well. Come be a part of a family. Come be a part of a community, and come be a part of making a positive and impactful change to our lifetime and our society and to future generations. Thank you so much for having me.
So that was Amy Ludidi from Chiba Africa. As you can see, a knowledgeable lady. She's going to be certainly part of the future of this industry. And I look forward to chatting to you again next week at 4:20. Ciao for now.